everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Web3 Weekly. I'm Crypto Kenny. I'm here again today with Nate. We're going to go over do like a quick walkthrough, and Nate's going to show us the proper use and some of the some of the tools in the Discord here, and we'll work on some analytics, utility tools, different things. We know that some of the tools in the market currently can be a little bit intimidating for people that don't know how to use them properly. And so we want you guys to be able to get all the value you can out. So we're going to go over that with him today. Last week we did a walkthrough on different marketplaces and did some comparisons, some updates and news on some of the recently opened marketplaces like the GameStop marketplace. Talked about some of the just the layout, some of the options that were coming forward with those. We talked about some updates with Magic Eden and then bringing Ethereum NFTs onto the platform, what that could mean for the future of Magic Eden. So if you guys haven't seen that episode yet, it's going to be right up here in the corner, so you can click on that and take a look. But without further ado here, what we're going to do today is we're going to have Nate come on. He's going to talk to us about, I believe he's going to start with some of the tools that are inside the Alpha Mutants Discord and how to properly use several of these tools. We might get into a few other things. If you're not already in the Discord, so you can kind of follow along. You can pause the video, and then right down below in the description down here, you will see the link to the Alpha Mutants Discord, the Alpha Mutants Twitter. And you can get follow us on Twitter, get to jump to the Discord, and you can kind of follow along with what he's doing here in just a moment. So Nate, again, thanks for taking the time out of your day, man, to come and show us some of this stuff. Nate is one of his major responsibilities inside Alpha Mutants is beta testing pretty much every new utility tool, every update that comes on already functioning utility tools, and just check out what's the best. He kind of also has a channel inside of the Discord called Secret Sauce. You'll see with the little blood drop beside it. That is Nate's personal list of the best free and premium utility tools in different areas as far as analytics, minting bots, and he has several lists in there. So if you haven't looked into that and you're looking to up your trading game, I definitely would suggest that you go check that out. But I'm gonna wrap my little intro up here, and we're gonna let Nate take us in and give us some education of these things. So Nate, I'll turn it over to you, man.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me share my screen and then we can dive into this. Let me I'll share my whole screen for now, because we'll probably get into some other tools here in a minute. All right, so just to kick this off, move this little box. So anybody that's not aware, I'll go through all of pretty much everything we have in the Alpha Mutant server, and I'll kind of give it a brief once over so everybody kind of understands it. I'm not going to go too far into it. It's like how far I trade it, but it definitely how it can affect everybody and how everybody can benefit from stuff. My Discord probably looks a little different than some of you guys's, because I use, actually, this is one tool I want to cover for sure. And we'll go into a more elaborate video later, but I use a tool called Better Discord. It's a downloadable software. It literally is Discord, but you can build in plugins. So like I can come over here and I'll go down to, I have a whole section here called Better Discord, and you can go to plugins and then themes, and you can essentially load in all these helpful plugins that are all community driven, coding wise. So a lot of this stuff truly helps me. For example, like you can have Discord tabs, so you can open like multiple Discords at the same time. You can switch between channels. You can have a favorites tab here, which really kind of helps me when I'm trying to jump through channels real quick. And it shows you unread badges, so you don't even have to keep flipping back and forth. It'll tell you if there's actually active channels or messages in those channels. There's a whole folder system that's significantly better. Like I can click on a folder and it expands everything I got here, so it allows me to quickly switch between Discords really quickly. And there's a lot of other cool features. So for example, a lot of the times, the worst part about Discord that I absolutely hate is you got to come in here, and anytime you do a role check, let's say you're trying to find out if you're whitelisted for a project, if you've got the role or whatever, you would have to like type something out to be able to to tell your colors. Here, there's actually a plugin, and we'll go into it at a later call, but there's actually a plugin where you can like quickly expand on your icon, and it tells you every role you have within the Discord. There's, I mean, just a bunch of helpful plugins like those. I mean, it helps me tenfold. Like I don't even do anything on my mobile anymore. So that would be the first thing I would say. Anybody that truly uses the computer and your Discord like app, get it, because it is by far one of the best organization tools you can do. So that helps me tenfold. So now after that stuff,
quick question, Nate. Just a quick question on that, Nate. So just for people going through this, so is the Better Discord plugin available for Chrome? Is it available for Apple users? Like, do you know the specs on that?
Let's go find out. So if you just Google Better Discord, betterdiscord.app is the website. And so when you come in here, you can do download. I don't know. I think it's for Apple and for Windows. I know Windows does it. But I would encourage you. I don't have an Apple, so I don't have a Mac. So if I would encourage anybody to just come in here and download it. And then, if anybody's got questions, ping me. Like this is probably like, we could do a whole video just on all the helpful plugins and stuff that come with it. And I'll scroll through mine in case anybody really kind of wants to slow down this video a little bit and go through. But so let me see how many I got. Yeah. I can probably run through these really quickly. So I use something called user details. That is literally the pop-up I just showed you, where you can click on your icon down here, and it'll absolutely color code your name. So you can see exactly what your role color is all across the entire server, no matter what channel you're in. It doesn't just show white like it does on the normal Discord app. And you can quickly expand and like see all your roles, all your details, all of that stuff. So that's what that is. And I would highly recommend you do that. That's probably one of my favorite plugins. Toggle Your Stuff is a really nice plugin that I personally use, because you can set shortcuts. And so if you don't know, if you come in here to this little cogwheel, it'll pull up all the settings that you can override and customize each tool to your own ability. So it gives you even a further in-depth, ability to customize whatever you want tenfold. So if for some reason you don't like let's say the channel icons or channel tabs up here, you don't like seeing that unread message icon, you can turn it off. Most plugins are pretty well built. But the Toggle Your Stuff plugin is really nice, because you can set it's almost like macros on your keyboard. So like I could have Control-1 and it would toggle off any one of these plugins. Nice. And I'll show you an example here in a minute. So I've got another plugin. I'm going to jump ahead real quick just so this kind of all ties in together. I've got another plugin here that where is it? It's called Hidden Channels. You can't see anything in the channels, but if show hidden channels, here it is. You can't see anything in the channels, but what you can do is you can essentially, by turning this on, you'll see a list of all of the channels within a Discord that you don't have access to. So it'll show you everything. I don't like seeing that because and I'll show you an example. I'm not going to do it on our server because I don't want to give away hidden channels, but for example, like if I jump in here to hooligans are a really good one to use. Let me see if I can find it. So if I go to My Pet Hooligan, they have like 1,000 channels. So right now, this is pretty much everything I see, and I've got some minimized. I'm going to toggle on. So I just toggled on. Oh, shit. I guess I don't have that set to a macro, but let me do this. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do settings, plugins, show hidden channels, and I'm going to turn this on. And so what happens is now I have access to all of these channels, and it'll show a little locked icon. So I can see everything that they have in their server, but I can't actually click on it because I don't have the permissions to view those. This is really nice to see if, somebody's got something in development, or maybe there's like a game going on in the server, because some teams will rename their channels that.
Yeah.
But you can identify things, and let's say you don't have permissions, and that's how it helps you, is you can somehow see certain things. And let's say you don't want to turn that on every Discord. You could come back in here to your themes tab or your plugins tab and expand it So show hidden channels, and I can expand this, and you can blacklist servers. Like you can toggle one of these.
Ah,
So it turns it off just on that server. So anytime you go back in and open that server, you don't have to keep turning it on and off.
I can see where that would be really helpful, like with projects that have things in development, to maybe even get an idea of what's coming in the future, to maybe even make some, like, some swing plays and stuff on different things. That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It depends on how each server runs it, like the like labels or channels and stuff. Some are really secretive and have a very organized thing, and you can kind of tell what's coming up.
Mhm.
And some, just free for all, like it's just whatever. I personally leave it off all the time unless I'm trying to see something, because like you can see all the support tickets and all that because you don't have access to all those channels.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have to scroll through 800 channels to find what I want. So I turn it off, but it's that where the toggle your stuff is really nice, because on something like that, I could just I can come in here to my settings icon and set that specific plugin to a shortcut. And so I can quickly toggle it on and off. So I don't have to like open up settings and do it every time. Um, Theme repo is like your go-to. Like if you don't have this plugin enabled, you can't search plugins directly in Discord. You'd have to go download them externally. So that would be the first one I would absolutely say everybody installs for on the theme side. There's actually another one down somewhere in here that you can do, like it'll actually do plugins. There's like a plugin repo and a theme repo,
Mhm.
and it'll allow you to manually search for plugins. So I can come over here to plugin repo, and I can manually find plugins within Discord, and I can install them directly from here. That allows you to do that. So it's super nice. Going down the list, staff tags. I just personally use these. These will put icons next to staff members, so it tells you like who owns the Discord server, or like who's on who has moderator permissions. So, for example, like over here on the side, this is Hooligan server. It puts a little crown next to each person's name, so I can tell like if I need assistance on who's got admin mods, like I'll go in and message one of these people. Um, Very subtle, but it's a small thing. You don't need to have it, but I do. I like it. Um, so coming down this list, split larger messages. This is really for really like team members, for example. Like I can type in a 3,000 word thing and click send, and it'll automatically split it up evenly, however I need it. Whereas like Discord, if you hit over like 800 words or something, I can't remember the exact number, but it'll limit you. It'll tell you, hey, this message is too long.
Yeah.
So that's super nice, just kind of for me. Spell check, because like I'm very anal about keeping everything organized and spell check wise. Um, Show hidden channels, we just went over that. So that's, the hidden channel icon. Show connections. This will actually show you when somebody, like whether they're on PC or mobile. And so and it also tell you like if their Twitter accounts, like when you come in here to settings, like let me see if I can expand mine. I don't have my accounts linked, but it'll show like accounts linked up here. So like if you got Discord or Twitter or whatever. So if you do a lot of gaming in Discord too, you can
Mhm.
instantly click on one of those and it'll take you to their social profiles.
Oh,
Which is
nice.
super nice. Let's see. Server folders, that's essentially server folders I would recommend anybody install. That's a lifesaver. Like you can categorize folders, and then you can click on an icon and it'll fully expand all of your discords. So like it's probably easier if I show, but like this allows me to I categorize all my folders. So here I've got like whitelisted projects, date confirmed. So I move my Discord servers around. So like if they come out with a date on when their mint actually is, like I'll move it into the date confirmed folder. If I've got whitelist date unconfirmed, I move it into that folder. Minting finish. So if they've already had their sale, I'll move it in here. And then archives, essentially everything I'm registered for, but like I'm not going to like actively keep notifications on.
Yeah.
Tools like different botting tools, stuff like that I find, as far as like utility wise. I've got alpha servers, so specifically just alpha call servers. I've got assets that I hold, so discords that I want to specifically follow because I know I hold those assets. And then I've got an essentials folder. So my point is when I come in here to like alpha, like I can expand this thing and it stacks all of my discords together. And so it's really nice because you can quickly just kind of expand each folder and it pops everything out versus having everything all in one row bar icon set. It's a pain in the
Yeah.
ass.
You spend half your day scrolling up and down, right?
Discord management is probably one of the key things. Like if you don't take anything away from any of the tools, like get better about your Discord management. If you have like 200 servers, I personally have 200 servers generally. And I've actually got a plugin that tells me, so like I can come over here and you probably can't read that, but it tells me how many servers I'm in. It says servers 171 right now. So you can imagine trying to like have notifications on for all servers or trying to manage all those, how much of a pain in the ass it is. I used to spend hours going through each server to check notifications. So let's get back to it. So let's see, server counter. That's exactly what I just showed. So it tells me a running count, and it's nice because if I'm trying to snipe, oh, here's a good thing. So they just came out with an update on one of the, let me see if I can get rid of the stand bar, but they just came out with an update on one of the plugins. So I automatically see the scroll bar and I can just click and it automatically downloads the updates and overrides it.
Nice.
So it's really nice. You don't have to like go in and fidget and download, like it's all there. But server counter, it works really well for me because if I'm trying to snipe an icon, I join so many servers pretty much daily that, you know, once I hit my 200 max, like if for some reason a hyped project comes out with their server and that says like, here's an invite link, it's good for 5 minutes, you know, as soon as I click that link, if my servers are filled, it denies me. Like I can't add anything else to my list. So it helps me keep a running tab on how many I have. So once I start kind of creeping up on like 190, I'll go through here and clean out servers that I don't use. And that's where my folders really help me kind of weed out what I do and don't need. Read all notifications. I don't personally use this very often, but essentially there's a button here, read all. If I click this, it will literally take every notification I have off my servers, mass, you know, join. So I know some people get hundreds and hundreds of notifications and they don't like seeing those. It's a good way to clean it up within one click of a button. For me, I don't like that because like I'm essentially have all my channels hidden that I don't want to see or muted. So if I've got essentially like the way I broke it down is this, if my essentials folder lights up with an icon or like an unread notification, I know it's important and I need to go in and read it. So that's why I don't do it. But personally, like I've heard that saves hundreds of people time, you know. Let's see. Server details, server counters, read all notifications, quick mentions. It's really nice because there's a little, when you go to compose a message in the bottom hand corner, there you can add, there's a little add icon, so you don't actually have to type it out. You can go over and click it. For me, it's just so much simpler to type it out. So I use that just in case I'm like trying to do quick stuff quickly. But for me, I don't really care too much about that one. Plugin repo, we just went over this. You have to have your repos installed to be able to install stuff within Discord. Multi-instance. I absolutely love this one. So tabs are great, but when I'm trying to cycle multiple Discords, or let's say I'm copying something from one Discord to another, I'm trying to like mirror channels. I don't like swapping between tabs all the time. So multi-instance it uses Control F12. So if I hit Control F12 right now, what it'll do is it'll open a whole other Discord program, and I can be logged into the same account and have two different instances running. So I can have two different simultaneous Discords open, or I can have two different accounts. And so, you know, if you click your little icon here, there's a new update that Discord has where you can quickly switch between accounts. Sometimes you could be logged into two accounts that way through the same. So like, it really helps because a lot of people I know like, for example, I know Link he has his Discord program open and then he logs in to his alternate account if he's got one through Windows or through the web browser. I don't like that because Better Discord isn't through your web browser. So I can run Better Discord on two different accounts simultaneously by running two different instances of Discord. So for me, it's phenomenal. Like I use that all the time. Let's go back through here. Invisible typing. Here's a little cheat code for everybody. I have it always turned on. So like when I type, so I'm going to come back in here to our server and I've got this little keyboard here, toggle disabled. So if I'm trying to really type a long message or a long announcement, like somebody's not going to be able to sit on that channel and watch me because it won't actually show that I'm typing. So it's phenomenal, especially for like if somebody's really trying to compose an announcement to say like let's say you're following trading call channels or trading Discord channels, and you're watching like the admin to type a like a trading alert.
Uh-huh.
If some people will camp on those channels to get those alerts really fast by toggling this thing on and off, nobody can see until it's actually posted that I was doing anything. So I use that all the time. Just kind of personal preference for me. Plugins. Let's see here. Image utilities, it just essentially gives you like when somebody posts an image, it gives you more tools, more options. Like you can download straight to your computer, you can copy, you can copy the URL, stuff like that. Like it's just it allows you to zoom, copy, download, reverse search. I can reverse search an image right from within Discord. So if I'm trying, like it helps me specifically because I go through a lot of like white papers and projects daily. So if I'm trying to find out, for example, let's say we're hosting a giveaway, a quick way to understand if projects are complete, scams is to reverse image search their art. If they've stolen it from somewhere else, I know instantly like, hey, this is a scam. I won't even take it on. So it helps me because I can do it all from within Discord right there. Hide muted categories. This one is just absolute lifesaver for me personally because if if I come in here and let's say I'm going to come in here to I'm going to come into the Nifty Nugs server. And let's say I don't want to see rules. I can right click and hide this channel and turn it until it's back on. Normally, it won't show me that. For example, hide muted channels. So I have to have this checked to hide whole channels, right? Or to hide the channel itself, which is great. I can do that. But if I hide an entire category per se, if I don't have that plugin turned on, it'll show me this like minimized bar here. And I don't like seeing that because I'll have 20 or 30 of these sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I can, I have my, so again, I have my toggle on. So I'm going to toggle it and I have it assigned to muted categories. So I just toggled that plugin on and off. So what you can see is if I have all of these categories hidden, for example, like I'm going to hide this mute category, I'm going to mute category. Oh, I've already got that one muted. I'm going to mute this category, right? You can see that I can still see all these. I don't like that personally. So when I hide it and I toggle it on, it automatically hides all of those. So I'll show you an example of where that really comes in handy for me. Let's say I come into Me6's server because I absolutely despise Me6 nowadays. Sorry, I'm actually trying to find a good one that I've already kind of hidden everything. So let's come in here to, actually, I'll just do it right now. All right, I'm going to hide all these. Hide, hide, hide. And let's say I want to leave these categories on because this is only what I want to see notifications on. If I hide muted channels is enabled, and then you have to have this thing checked. So you have to hide muted channels, and then you have to hide to have your category toggled. And what it does is it automatically detects it's already hidden. So it'll hide these things as soon as I do. So how this helps me is I've got hundreds of pop-ups or those little badge icons with all of the, with that channels toggled off and with my categories toggled off. Any categories I've muted, I essentially, so like, for example, I don't want to see any of their team shit. I'm going to hide the category. I can quickly, like, I might have 100 different unread icons on this server because it's detecting all the other channels that I've been tagged in. I could quickly come in here and say, okay, I might have 100 tag icons for unread messages, but these are only the channels that I want to see specific unread notifications in. And if I don't see a red on any of these channels, I can just right click on this server and mark as red. And it essentially allows me to quickly jump into, I'll just cycle down here on every single server that I have, and I'll quickly jump in and say, okay, on the channels that I have left open, is there an unread icon? Because if there is, like on announcements, I'll click it and I'll read it. If there's not, I don't care how many icons are on this thing. I can quickly right click and mark as red. For me, it saves me hours, like literally hours, because Discord is real shitty about making the only way to turn off tags is to come in here, and you either have to suppress all mentions at here or the everyone role. But the problem with that is that it doesn't allow me to toggle individual channels on and off, right? So when somebody comes into announcement channel and types like at everyone, our mint is going to be on the state, that's relevant info that I absolutely want to see. But when they also go and tag at everyone in, let's say their gaming channel, right? Let's say they're having a karaoke night. I don't give a shit about that. But I can't, there's no way to custom do each channel. I either have to turn it mass blanketed across the whole Discord or not. This kind of is the middle ground to solve that problem. And I can go into a better explanation of this later. I'm just kind of trying to fly through this stuff right now. But so that's, let's see, that is hide muted categories. Double click to edit. I use this all the time because I actually, if anybody goes through and looks at all my message history inside the Alpha Mutants Discord, I'm constantly editing messages because of typos or because like I just want to clarify information. So I could just literally double click and it'll activate the message. So I don't have to like right click and then do edit message. It's a shortcut for me to do that.
Yeah.
Like minor things, but it helps tenfold, like more than you'd imagine. Copy raw message. Most people probably are not going to use this. For me, it works out really nice. So let's say like I'm in our Discord and Link has a giveaway template that he uses. So like everything's bolded for like the mint dates and all that. So for example, let me come to an announcement we had. General. So Link's got a formatted message here. It's got everything underlined, bolded. If I were to copy this and just copy, sorry, I'm trying to find this thing. So here's copy text raw. So if I just tried to come in here without that and just tried to control C all this and then paste in here, what's going to do is it's going to bring everything in. It's like quick summary right here. Doesn't have any of the syntax on it or the traits to make it bold or underlined. I'd have to come in here and redo this whole message, right? Which is a pain in the ass, especially if you can imagine a long message. So control Sing, just highlighting everything, control Sing isn't the way to go. With this plugin enabled, I can right click, come down here to copy text raw. When I come down here to paste it, it automatically pastes it with the formatting enabled. So I could literally just copy paste and then it's ready to go. So for example, if I wanted to quickly do an exact message like this, but change some of the content, I would copy raw. I'd come in here, type out whatever I want and keep like all of the same data so that I don't have to reformat everything piece by piece. So like I said, for a team member, for example, that would work really well because we're doing a lot of the same templates. But for the average user, they probably don't use that too terribly often. But it is a massive shortcut for me. Let's see. Character counter, it's really nice because when I'm typing a message, it's just like Twitter, it'll tell you how many characters you have down at the bottom. So like I said, Discord has a limit just like Twitter does, although it's not 100 characters or whatever, but it's still helpful to see if you're about to go over that cap. Channel tabs, that is this exactly kind of what I went over. We have tabs. I highly recommend that one. Better role colors, like it. If I turned that off, my name down here would be white and I can't see it everywhere. With better role colors on, I can literally see what color my name is everywhere I go. And so it works out really nice because you can essentially see the highest role, or like over here, I can see like everybody's roles, that kind of stuff. It's nice because it essentially colors your name everywhere within the Discord, like literally every place. So I really like that one a lot. Sorry, I wish I didn't have to keep like funneling through back to plugins every time. Copy text raw. We did that one. Character counter, channel tabs, better role colors, better NSFW tag. I personally use this because I have Discord open on my work computer, my office computer. And so like we don't have an NSFW, not safe for work, but if I come in here, for example, I know Nifty Nugs does. Actually, I think it's in this folder. Nifty Nugs has one. So if, for example, there's some content in there that, like, let's say this wasn't, their channel name wasn't NSFW, it automatically puts like an explicit icon essentially on the channel. So I know, hey, I probably shouldn't click that if I've got, my boss behind me or something, you know what I mean? So that really helps me a lot. I like it. Not many servers use that just because they don't have an NSFW channel, but works for me. Account details plus, that is essentially what I showed you originally, where you can click your icon up here and it'll tell you every role you have in the Discord. So you don't have to like role check within your channels. This plugin library is just one that you're automatically required to download if you install like a specific plugin that's dependent upon this. So it'll, once you try and install something, if it uses it, it'll prompt you to install it. And then the same thing with this one. These are essentially two different libraries. From this one's by Zerabos and this one's by Devilbro. If you come through here, you'll notice Devilbro has a lot of plugins. So you need that to install all of his. The only caveat I will say to installing some plugins with Better Discord is come through here when you're searching within your plugin repo and look for, like I go by downloads or like for example, likes. You can see how many people have downloaded it. And these are probably the most stable plugins, because what happens is if these plugins aren't constantly updated as Discord comes out with updates, sometimes it'll break Discord to where you'll find your Discord crashing quite a bit. So just make sure you're using probably some of the most ones that are almost vital to you and probably the most used ones, because these are going to be the ones that are updated most. So if I come down here and you can probably find some that are very, very small numbers that people don't use. So as you start to scroll towards the bottom, you're starting to see it drop significantly in numbers. Eventually, you're going to find ones that are like their version. So like if I click on this, sorry, give me a second. If I were to click on this, it would show me, I can't do it right now, but if you try and download it, it'll tell you when it pops up, or it'll tell you like in your settings what version it is. And some of them you'll see version 1.0. It means that that's probably the only Discord plugin that they've come out with and they haven't ever updated it. So just be cautious of that, because I found that I tried to install like 30 originally and my Discord just kept crashing. So so it really helps to kind of go through and install the ones that you're going to be the most accustomed to. But so I know that was kind of long. Those are probably the best tools that I can advise anybody, and that are very stable. Like my Discord probably crashes maybe once every few weeks at most. And those help me tenfold. But it's a lifesaver. I'm telling you, like anybody that doesn't use Better Discord, like I will never go back. And I think you won't either once you get into it. So I would recommend anybody do that. So let's get into the actual Discord tools. But Kenny, you probably don't use Better Discord, do you?
Yeah, I use it, but not in the extent that you've got here. Like
Yeah, and it's phenomenal. I'm telling you, man, I go down the rabbit hole and like I find all these tools that are like, just once it saves me time, I'm just like, I can't live without it at that point. Like one day Discord updated, and like this little expansion thing that I had, it's a better role colors and the better role colors and account details. They were outdated because Discord updated. I thought my world was going to end, man. I like dropped into servers and I got so used to doing this, like quickly seeing what roles I have. Once it was gone, or like broken until the developer updated, I couldn't use it. And so like, I was like, oh my God, this is like going back to the archaic ways of just Discord itself without Better Discord.
Yeah.
It's a pain. It truly is. So, but anyways, once anybody starts using it, like you probably will never want to go back to the regular Discord again. Like even on my phone, I'm just like, oh God, this is a nightmare. Just trying to format messages and stuff. Okay, so let's get into the actual tools within our Discord. So to start, we have these are kind of an ever evolving thing that we find, like we'll move things around as we find people getting more use, that kind of stuff. So right now, these used to be elsewhere, but we've gotten the most use out of our signals for anybody that drops in here and uses these things. So, and because they make everybody the most money. So this bot runs in the background, and if it detects a massive price change, or let's say there's a very big vital indicator on a chart, on the Bitcoin or Ethereum chart specifically, we've kind of broken it down so you can see signals BTC, signals ETH here. If it detects that a major signal is crossed or change in shift in momentum or whatever it is, it will send an alert, and it tags. We've broken these down into roles that are claimable within your. So if you come down here to the welcome hub, and you go to get roles, you can come in here and you can actually claim one of these roles by clicking one of these two icons. That will allow you to get the role specifically. So if you come in here to mine, you can see I have signals BTC, signals ETH. Once the bot detects a massive movement in a price alert, what it'll do is it will drop an icon in here or an embed, and it'll tag you. And so by having these things right at the top of the Discord, it's significantly easier because these are usually time sensitive alerts. The quicker you can get on these, the better chance you have of making money. And it will tell you, it's very important to come in here and look at the time frame. If this time frame tells you that the longer the time frame is out, so you can see here, this one's a 12-hour, this one's a 1 day. The longer the time frame is, the more rock solid the alert is going to be. And it tells you how long you should probably be looking to hold. 1 day alert tells me that it's a massive movement. So I'm a lot, and you can quickly see too the difference. The 1 day alert tells me, oh, there's a 10% stop loss range and an 8% at least recommended take profit. Versus here, the 12-hour, there's an 8% stop loss and a 4% movement. It's telling you, because of the longer time frames, you're willing to take on more risk and you're willing to take on more profit because it's a more stable price movement. Anybody that's using like leverage trading, for example, so you can see this 4-hour one is a 2% take profit, a 4% stop loss. Anybody choosing leverage trading, dear God, do not over leverage yourself, especially on these longer time frames, because what happens is this gap is wider for a reason. It's because you're going to see a lot more movements, but you're going to see a lot more drastic movements over a longer time frame. But the objective is that over the longer time frame, you have an opportunity to make more profit versus trading on a 4-hour. Yep. So if you're going to take a 30x leverage, do not take it on a daily chart. If you're going to do it, take like a 5x leverage or something. Give yourself some breathing room. So when this thing does drastically fluctuate over a day-long period, your upside is significantly more because it obviously detects that this is a more stable time frame with much more profit. But if you take a 30x on here, you're going to get liquidated because this 1 day is going to move significantly on a wider range than, say, the 4-hour will. And you need to be taking profit quicker on the 4-hour than you do on the daily. Like, that's just a rule of thumb. I personally disagree with this one specifically, and we're going to spend the most time on these because they're the most in-depth to get into. You should never take, in my opinion, a trade if you have, so like you see your stop loss is 10% down, your take profit 6% up. I can't customize these. Like, I can't turn this on. It's just whatever the bot detects. I personally would never recommend taking a trade that has a much bigger risk ratio than it does your reward. But the reason the bot does this, and you won't see this across many bots, the reason the bot does this is because it's fairly confident when it makes an alert that you're going to make this profit. Otherwise, it wouldn't alert you. So, but it's telling you this is your risk when it does take it, because it can be wrong. But 90%, like anybody that's followed these calls the past like 2 weeks, I think it's been 95% right. So,
well, and I think another thing people should know about these, since this is a really popular function of Discord, is that if that most of the time when you see, I would venture to say at least 75% of the time when these do not play out for people, it's because it's human error, right? So if you take one of these trades and you put your take profit at one of these points, but you've leveraged so much that your stop loss is much higher, okay, then you're not following the trade itself. And so that's human error. Or if you go beyond the take profit points and you're trying to squeeze more in, and then you get a crash and burn because you weren't paying attention, right? So different things like that. Specifically, I've seen people really get messed up. But me personally, so I follow all of these trades inside of I actually trade on several different platforms and use a couple other bots as well. But I particularly follow all these just so I can get an idea of how accurate they are. And I can tell you, I do it. I place exactly what these say just to get a baseline for them. And I have yet to. I think I may have missed one or two possibly in the last 2 or 3 weeks. But I mean, every single one of these, even when it gets to where like you enter at the trade, and especially on these 12-hour and daily trades, like you can go down quite a bit. You can start feeling that little bit of, like, oh man, is this going to go south or whatever. But every single time so far that they have played out within these parameters, right? So it's don't like try to be a rocket scientist. Don't try to read into more than what they are. If you're going to follow them, because the worst thing you can do is take something that functions the way it's supposed to and put your own, junk into it to mess it up.
Yeah. For anybody that's not an active trader, like just following these is very safe. And the point being is that, like I said, I don't recommend taking a trade ever, especially like on your own, that has a higher loss percentage than it does a take profit. And you should always, before you take a trade, always identify those levels and stick to them. Like for me, it's ride or die. Like when I take a trade, I identify my entry point, I identify what I'm willing to lose and where my profit target is. And I will literally let that thing ride until one of those gets triggered. Because I've done the due diligence ahead of time to understand that. If I'm sitting here like taking things on the fly, I don't like doing that. The only time I'll do that is if I see, for whatever reason, like let's say I identify, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna draw a chart. Let's say I identify my take profit to be at this level. And I personally like use indicators. I actually have a trading view subscription and I use it, but I'll get into these in a different video on some of the tools and scripts that I use. But my point is these clouds that you see here are exponential moving average clouds. So like on this top range of the cloud, that's an exponential moving average line. And then this bottom one is another exponential moving average line. And anybody that doesn't know, exponential moving averages essentially track price movements. It kind of smooths out price movements over time. And by doing a cloud, I kind of get a range that this thing can move into. And so my point is when I set a take profit target up here, if I set it and for some reason it doesn't get triggered, I don't touch it until I see my thesis of what I took the trade on change. So for example, for these clouds, and I'll just go into this briefly so everybody understands what I'm talking about. Anytime that you see, so I use these clouds specifically. So these, if I'm zooming in here, right, you can see that this cloud changes from green to red. It means that the cloud has gone, like it's taken this and then it's inverted like a ribbon. If it inverts, it means that the two EMAs have now crossed to different realms. This green essentially tells me, hey, I'm on a positive EMA movement upwards. This red one tells me I'm on a negative. What you can tend to see when you zoom out of here, and this is on my hour chart, is any time that this thing has crossed right at that color change on the cloud, you see this candle. It's a big red candle. And then what happens is you see all these wicks stayed under that red. It never reclaimed it. As soon as it crossed and reclaimed it, that green candle just lit up. And now you see it kind of rides this wave again, stays on top of it. And my thesis doesn't change until I see the candle cross out of that cloud. Once it crosses out of that cloud and closes beneath it, my whole thesis is invalidated again. So I don't move my take profit or my stop loss range unless I see my thesis change overall. Otherwise, the trade still holds. And that's kind of where, going back to this thing, that's where your time frame that it calls out really matters, because it might call this thing out on a 12-hour chart and it give you these levels. And right after it calls it, you might see it dripped 5%, but your stop loss was 8%. Don't close that trade because you're fearful that 5% dipped automatically. Let it ride until one of those gets triggered, because the objective here is that it made that call because you have a 90% chance, let's say, of hitting your profit, but there's still that chance that you can't, that you won't, and you'll get stopped out. But like Kenny said, this thing's been right like 90% of the past week. So for every positive trade that he's stuck to his guns and just let the trade ride, he's hit profit almost every time. So that one time that you do actually take a loss, you're already sitting in so much profit that it doesn't matter, right? You're still in profit overall, even after the losses. And what you want is you want more wins than you do losses, period, right? That's how these things really come into play. And that's how I would highly recommend anybody that doesn't actively trade, take these for what they are. And don't get fearful if this thing dips 5% after you took it, look at your recommended stop loss range and follow it. But obviously, once you start integrating leverage trading in here, be smart about it, because this is not leveraged. This is a straight up 1-for-1 trade. Anytime you start doing leverage, it's a multiplier. So if you see, for example, like let's say you go by these rules and you see a 10% loss here, right? If you start kicking up your leverage, that thing exponentially climbs, like it just does. And so just be careful with that. So that's the alerts. Most people get use out of those. These ones are very quick and easy. They're self-explanatory. Like obviously it's a quick, it works for me specifically because like I don't have to open CoinMarketCap. I don't have to open gas trackers. If I'm typing, which I spend a lot of time in Discord, these should appear on almost every channel you jump into. So if I am in Collab join, I can still see it over here in my browser. If I join Facts, it still is apparent right up top. That's really, really nice because you can quickly monitor price movements without actually doing it. There is some sort of small lag here just based off Discord API rates. So be cautious of that, because if a mint just kicked off, this might show 40 GUI. Like just monitor your system, because if you send a high mint at 40 GUI thinking, hey, it's ready, and all of a sudden that mint opened, that really high mint opened 5 seconds ago, that GUI might shoot up to 150 or something. And then now you've just sent your transaction with a significantly lower. But overall, like this tells me, so like I come in here and I do a lot of my marketplace approvals based off what this says. So sometimes I'll be like sitting here typing at like midnight or something, just messages, and I say, oh, hey, GUI just hit below 10 GUI. I'll say, okay, I'm going to go to CoinMark, or I'm going to go to OpenSea and just approve all my extra, sales that I have been waiting to do. And it does, I don't have to open any external software to do it. So these are really nice, just as quick, simple price trackers. Once we get down here into the actual calls, like here's all of our mutant calls that we do. So we kind of broke it down into categories to make it very simple and easy to kind of categorize and find. So that should be pretty self-explanatory. Secret sauce, I put this together a long time ago, and I probably need to update it, but you don't have to spend $4,000 on botting software, on tools to get an edge in the market. If you are active like I am and trade all the time and do that stuff, it helps. But if you come into your secret sauce and look for whatever category you're searching for. So like, let's say I'm looking for a good gas tracker, right? Here are 3 different great gas trackers that you can use. Luckily, I've identified that these are all free to use. As you start to come in here, there may be, for example, let me find a good one. Okay, analytical tools. Analytical tools, everybody needs those to track, price movements, stuff on NFT collections, all that. There are free and paid versions already highlighted here for you. So you don't have to like click on every single one of these to go find out. If you're looking for a free version, like I've identified it as free. And then I've also created a legend. Like if you scroll up here to the very top, the white little blocks are good alternatives. So that's saying, hey, anything on this list is a great tool, period. It'll help you. But my personal favorites would be anything that I've diamond. Those are kind of like my go-tos. And then anything with the little 100 emoji is a must. Like you should probably want to make yourself familiar with it because it's probably the best in the business or most used. Like for example, OpenSea, it's got 100 on it. Magic Eden looks rare, all 100s. Byte.io is an up and coming one, but their marketplace is so small. X2, Y2 is a great exchange, but they don't have as much volume as these other 3. So it really helps to kind of as a one-stop shop for people that are kind of newer to the space that aren't familiar with all these tools to come and look at. So for example, I got portfolio managers in here. It's really good to track that kind of stuff, to use some of these things that could give you an edge. Analytical tools. I use Alpha Sharks because it's paid, but it's very good. But I understand some people don't have the bankroll to do it or don't trade enough that they don't want to spend $600 or whatever it is on a trading tool. So you can come in here and you can find a good equivalent. And there's plenty of them. So I would highly recommend anybody that's going to like come in here and search for this. And if there's something in here that you need that's not in here, tag me. I will get it added. And because like you're not the only one that probably has searched for it. But that's a really good tool to use, and I don't know of any other server that has it broken down like we do. That's super, super easy to follow.
Fantastic,
man. Yeah,
I'm going through here taking notes, downloading different plugins, doing all this stuff as you're going on. That's awesome.
Yeah. A good thing is, like these videos, like a lot of the time I'll play videos back at like 2x the speed or 1.75 the speed because I don't have time to just sit through and listen to 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's also good to kind of slow this stuff down so that you can come back through here and just like see, hey, this is what he had on his screen and he used.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll try and go into some of these things in a little bit more in-depth videos. It's probably something good to break down at a future date. But this is just kind of a once over of everything that I use. Once you get in here to market news and calls, so like we broke it down into two different sections. There's mutant news and calls, which is our specific stuff related to alpha mutants and the team itself.
Hmm.
And then market news and calls over here is everything that we've brought in from an external source. It's really nice to follow this stuff because they have a full-time staff that does this with like 10 different, 20 different people in different sectors, and they're all catered to those sectors. So they imagine like alpha mutant stuff is more like macro scale and micro scale, and anything within this market news and calls category is more macro scale. It's like bigger trends that are going on in the market. They're not going to track every small play, but they're going to track. So like you can see here under these where it's all got dates, these are probably the most hyped mints coming up this on each day this week. And it gives you a good read on the market very quickly as to like if you come in here and say, okay, I see a pre-mint raffle pop up that's for, I don't know, potatoes, right? Potatoes is one of the biggest mints coming up this week. So if you can quickly get in on that can save you tenfold rather than going and register for 20 different pre-mint raffles, right? Just saves a lot of time. These like little waves here are probably your core functions that you want to follow under this category. These are the most vital things, and I use these personally. It's like follow airdrops a lot. You come in here and you can quickly follow. These are every airdrop that has come out that they get a whiff of on the market that's even remotely tangible to follow. So, and it tells you like it breaks it down in simple steps for you. It tells you like when it's available until, tells you exact steps you have to follow to claim it. And then it tells you an analysis description of what it is. It gives you the links to it. Like what more could you want prepackaged in a very little, like 1-page synopsis? Like it saves you tenfold. And same thing with like ETH important. This will tell you like major news within the space. So for example, like ENS visions, these are like web URLs that you can, these have been going around pretty heavily lately. But it just kind of tells you like if it's something you're interested, it gives you like a one paragraph synopsis and the link to the marketplace where you can go buy these things at. And I won't follow up on everything in here, but if I come through here and I scroll and I see, oh, hey, I've got like here, right? I even dropped my own announcement in here because I have access to write in this channel, but I tagged this and I replied to it. This was the U.S. Consumer Price Index. This is a major market news that the federal U.S. government came out with that affects markets around the world, including ours and crypto and NFTs. And so I wouldn't have known, like this is a one-stop shop. I wouldn't have seen this if I didn't get a pop-up alert for it. But because it's so vital, I, followed up and tagged everybody, said, hey, to further elaborate, this has a massive impact. So make sure you read this one specifically. But this is like major news going across the market. So it's very, very important to understand this stuff. And it gives you a 1-page synopsis. This is like reading the front page of the newspaper. Like it's fantastic. And then they have their own calls. So like if you're really looking for short-term calls, long-term calls, like it tells you your risk to reward ratio or your risk to reward ratio. It tells you your entry and exit targets on some of these, and it tells you the links and stuff like that. Be cautious, do your own research with this stuff because not everything they call out works. But some of these things are very vital to some people. Some people love, like, for example, there's different things that get tagged in here that are like Vive. Vive is like a almost like its own secondary marketplace where they sell like digital comics and stuff like that. A lot of people love that stuff. For me, I don't have a use case for it. I don't follow it, but it's good. So make use of this stuff because there's a lot of really helpful information in here. And then now we get into the core, like literally probably my favorite aspect of all of this. These are the automated bots. You can see all my channels white. It's because I'm not dropping in here and checking these like 24/7, but I do come in here periodically throughout the day and I check it. So Early watch AI. This is probably one of the most vital ones to watch. Um, not necessarily in this market because free mints are not really running necessarily right now, but this is really good if you're trying to get into a project extra early to get whitelist spots for. This is where you find it. This is an AI based tool that automatically scans Twitter and every new project popping up that has some sort of even remote shred that it could blow up and become like massive following. Um, Part of what this thing does is it scans notable influencers that follow projects. So like if you've got like Llamaverse, for example, like he's a big alpha caller in the space. If this project pops up today and gets posted, the AI bot learns from itself. So if it detects like Llamaverse has been on 90% successful projects that of Twitter accounts that he follows, and he starts following this, it's going to alert you this because it means that they have a very good success rate that this thing now could blow up. And the quicker you can get on these things and get in their discords, get, follow them on Twitter, get turn notifications on, the easier it's going to be for you to get whitelisted spots for, or for you to even follow like major movements and in influencers and stuff like that. So like you can come in here. So like this is nice because it tells you once this message is posted, it's almost like a snapshot in time. So it tells me when this was posted, it has 787 followers, and it tells me when the account was created. If I click on this thing, I bet what's happened is this is probably over 1,000 followers, or at least now. Yeah, 2,000. So so like you can see how successful this thing is. And what it does is it grades the art. It grades, attention rates on, how much activity do they have on all their posts, who's following it, that kind of stuff. And it kind of all pre-packages in this nice little formulated engine that then helps it determine whether this is a bull or bear play. That's fantastic. I don't know of anybody else that's done that. And we specifically have access to those tools. And we brought it for everybody because that's been a big one. And some of these projects, case in point, have gone like it's alerted people like 800 followers or less. And some of these have blown up into 6-figure accounts that you can follow. And some of these actually, if you scroll up here to, where was this? Some of these mints that appear on this, like I can promise you I can't pronounce that, but Isakai, I can promise you was alerted in here at one point or another. Like that's how good these things are, because these are going to be now the most hyped mints. So it doesn't mean that they're always going to work out, but it does mean the earlier you can get in, the more you can benefit from it. Gas guzzlers here. If for some reason you were like, whoa, what gas just spiked? Like what is hogging it on the Ethereum chain or whatever? This will tell you that. So it tells me like Uniswap used 20 ETH of gas in the last 3 hours. So it kind of tells me where all of the funds are coming from and where everybody's transacting. I don't personally use this too terribly often, but it is nice. Like if you're really curious about, like here, KuCoin used 4 ETH, like that's probably a one-off event. KuCoin doesn't do the most volume to make this list periodically all the time, right? Yep. So it just tells me that people are periodically starting to trade on KuCoin, which might be something to watch, right? Maybe there's some activity going on there or something. Newsfeed, this is really just like articles that are pulled from, different news sources, and you can tell what news source it is here before you even click on it. But these are like let me just see here. I'm trying to find a good one that people would know. Crypto Globe is a good one that, it posts there. Coin Republic's a good one. And so it just posts like periodically breaking news that are kind of like followed out that you might want to know. And you can click on it. It'll take you specifically to that article to where you can read. So it's nice as like a kind of a one-off synopsis page to look at. I use this periodically, but not as much as I used to because we just have so many other channels. But some people love this stuff. I mean, it's nice to stay in tune with the daily news going on in the space. Top buyers, top sellers. This is a good one to use. I'm trying to scroll down here. This is a good one to use. It tells you top buys, top NFT buyers within the past hour, and this tracks wallets. So if there's activity on a specific wallet, like I know Dota, I've followed Dota a little bit, but it'll tell me what they've bought. Like I can go click on their wallet, see what they've bought, and it tells me how much they've spent on stuff. I don't use this too typically terribly often because I'm not a big fan of following what other people are buying, but like, there are some massive accounts that people do follow, like Gary V. And if you can get on those things early, more power to you. But usually it's a gas war by the time it gets alerted, because everybody's got alerts on those things. But this will tell you kind of the top wallets that are buying within the past hour. So like this guy had bought, 66 sales within the past hour, which is quite a bit of NFT transaction history going on, right? But you can come and see here, if there's something like a caveat, right? Let's say you see 150 going on, you're like, what the fuck? Maybe there's something there. Like maybe they're buying all of the art blocks collection or something, and because they know that news is coming, right? Same thing with top sellers. It's kind of the opposite, obviously. It's most sales going on from each wallet. Like I said, I don't really follow these two terribly often. Genie Sweeps. This is any of the sweep categories are all going to do the same. They're just from different sources. So Genie, Gems, and Motion. It essentially tells you the sweeped collections like that are getting the floor swept with like massive buys periodically. And this is on a very, very short time frame. So when I come in here and I can see, okay, this collection had, I can't even read what that is, but the Earthverse. I've never heard of this project personally myself, but I could click the link. I could go see what it's about. Genie has alerted us that 40 tokens have been swept from the floor. These are not mints. This is sweeps off the floor, like off the open floor, which is a big deal, because if you can see like massive numbers start to flow in on some of these things, especially on like good solid collections, like for example, like Bored and Dangerous. I think I last checked this collection was at like 0.3 ETH. There's 9 of these swept within like the last like few minutes. That's really, really helpful to turn around and see, okay, buy orders are coming in on this thing. Maybe I should go buy a few of these, right? So, okay, so 0.4. So it was I think I looked at it like an hour or two ago, it was 0.3. So that's probably, those sweeps probably started kicking up this price, which means that it might be a good flip opportunity if you can get in early enough before those sweeps really kind of start piling in. This thing, all of these sweeps are, and so like you can, this is case in point, right? Here's 9 on Bored and Dangerous. If I scroll up here, less than 24 hours later or earlier, there was 50 sweeps on it. So it tells me that there's a shit ton of activity on this collection in general, which means that if I was looking to buy anything, I probably would want to go buy one of those, because the floor is being swept, which means people are willing to pay secondary market value for it. It's fantastic. It's different if it's a mint, right? You could have 10,000 people minting a collection and it could just do shit. But if people are willing to buy on secondary, there's something there. So that's what all these sweeps do. It's just for different sources. Each one kind of comes in at their own information and their own time intervals. Mints trending. So like here, there's different mints. So there's like 5 different mint categories here, right? It's important to see different time scales, just like it's important to see different time frames on a trading chart. If you look too narrow at the 1 minute, right, you could have a lot of mints coming in on this 1 minute. Like for example, this was yesterday at 3:00 on my time. Spirit was being minted 54 times because the mint had just opened, right? But if you go look at Spirit's collection now, the volume is pretty much dead in the water. Had you looked at it on that 1 minute time frame, like that would have told you like, hey, this is a super hyped mint now, but it's not going to tell you like the collection volume and the mint volume over a couple hours is not going to be there, right? That's where it's important to come and look at these longer time frames. Sometimes you're just looking for different levels of information. And this will tell you that like this one specifically mints in 60 minutes. So on the hour, it'll tell you, okay, here's a collection that had 96 mints on the hour. On an hour, 96 minutes is not a lot, but a collection that has 5,000, right? And you see the difference. This one is Adidas, right? So Adidas had 5,000 mints on the hour. So those were probably actually gone. If I look at smaller time frames at this exact same interval and date, they probably had that exact same number of mints on the 10 minute or the 5 minute or whatever it is, right? Because that's just a massively hyped collection. And that tells you like, hey, if it's a free mint, like, and you see that number coming in, go click on it, go find their page, right? Let's see, they may have moved URLs, but go click on it, find their page and see if it's a free mint or not, or see if it's a public mint. If it is, like analyze the chart, look at whether it's profitable mint, go ahead and mint it. And you can see this one's 3,000, that's Mercedes, right? And this one is Other Deed, 275 mints. So you can start to kind of see that obviously the most hyped mints are going to be the ones that have the most traction. That's how these things kind of come into play. So it tells me what's getting the most eyes on it in the past hour. I use this thing quite a bit because it helps me go identify collections that are trending that I might not even have heard of. But if I'm looking for a good interval, no matter how much you like a collection, if other people don't see value in it, you're not going to be able to move it. You're not going to be able to trade on it. And personally, I don't care. I don't give a shit about holding personally on most collections. I care if it's profitable. And the only way it's profitable is if other people see it. Pre-mint, prime example. Kenny, you know, I've talked about this. I hate pre-mint. I think pre-mint is a overpriced, inflated piece of shit, but people value it. So if I were to come in here and see people buying it or mints on it, I would go buy it right then and there because it tells me it's profitable.
Yep.
Volume. This, of all the ones to take out of, volume is probably the most important. Like any trade, volume matters, like period. If you don't have volume, you can't move in and out of it. Generally, because this is going to be top 10 on volume on the hour, these are going to be the top collections. Most of these, the average person probably won't even have the funds to get into. Like Mutant Yacht Club, right? That's thousands and thousands of dollars. You know, you sit here and you go through like CubeX, right? They minted, they did that in volume. Very important to look at your volume analysis. And then deployed contracts. I don't use this too terribly often, but this tells you every new contract popping up. Personally, I don't use it just because like you have to verify these things. Just because a contract pops up does not mean that it's legitimate. But it does help you because if you are looking to bottom enter something and you see a project come up, it means they literally just launched that contract on this interval, right? So this is an ERC 20. If I see a pop-up here, let's say I'm trying to watch a contract, like I know there's about to be a public mint happen and I'm trying to find the contract, I will watch whatever chain it's going to be on, whatever contract type it is, and I will literally watch for the project name. As soon as I find it, I'll go search for it and just make sure that this contract, because sometimes if I can get the contract before the next person, like I have a massive up advantage. So I use those a little bit. Confirmed rugs just kind of tells you like rug pull finder is a good source that if the artwork is itself like copied, it'll identify it as a scam or a rug. So I would use that heavily. Kind of saves you some time, and it kind of, Skull Tunes was a rug. I actually minted Skull Tunes a while back. So I guess they came out with another collection or something. But my point is that some of these things, when you come in here, it'll tell you and it'll save you some time and money. And then Magic Eden itself, it just tells you the top volume traded within Magic Eden. I track this one and I have a bot that tracks this one specifically because Magic Eden is kind of the up and coming thing. And now would be the time to buy their collections if you were really looking to get into an alternate ecosystem. But it's, these things in particular are very good to just monitor tool wise for the average person. And like I said, all of these within our Discord, being a holder post mint will get you access to all this stuff. And I'm telling you, like if you go to Trait Sniper or you go to Alpha Sharks and stuff, people are paying $700 to $1,000 to $2,000 for these same tools, but they're packaged up a little prettier. Sometimes the speed is a little bit faster on them just on the data that gets delivered, but you're getting the same information for the most part, right? Here you get it all for free. Like this is phenomenal. And nobody else and I'm in a ton of different groups, nobody else has quite the same level of information and access to their users that we do. And part of that is because we have the experience here where I've found tools that do and don't work. And that's kind of the idea is it took me, months and months to come across and find all of these different tools and profitable resources of information that are reliable. The average person doesn't have that kind of time or doesn't spend enough time in the market to determine this. So this is a good one-stop shop for you guys to get in here and learn and to make these moves. And watch specifically, if you're not going to follow any of the bots and stuff, just watch our open chat. I moved. So for example, this is a little bit earlier. I moved. NFT Worlds came out with an announcement, and Darkstar was a great person who's very active. He posted that Minecraft has essentially come out and said crypto projects that are being built on Minecraft are violating terms of contract, right? So obviously that invalidates every Minecraft project across the board. They've got to pivot. NFT Worlds is a Minecraft based play, and it was trading at 2.75 floor. After this news came out on the hour, it dipped all the way down to 0.5 ETH. I bought in at 0.75 just because I saw this announcement and kind of pieced two and two together. Within an hour later, that thing had rocketed back to like 1.5 ETH. So I made 100% literally on that trade in under an hour, just because I pieced the market news together, because I knew this was going to be a drastic overreaction. I wouldn't have known that stuff had I not been following some of these channels and alerts. So I would highly advise people to be active and follow this stuff because it matters. Like it can make you a lot of money. But that's my spiel, man.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, it's like even me, and I've been in, the whole process of having the server, set up and having each of these tools integrated. And even myself, as long as I've been in the market, I'm still like adding these things day by day and getting used to using them. I promise you that you can come into the server here and it will take you weeks and months to get used to everything. But once you get these things added to your repertoire over time, it's the value proposition is just absolutely amazing. And thank you, Nate, for coming in here. I while you were talking, I literally took some notes here, downloaded some plugins that you'd mentioned, and upgraded my whole setup here myself. So there's value here for people that have been in the space, 6-7 years like I have. I'm coming up with my 7-year mark here in a month. So even people with that type of longevity in the space there's value, there's major value here. And it's even someone starting off, you can pick a few of these and start to learn and get into the space. So I think that's massive. Nate kind of like went through these things really quickly. We're gonna have to do several of these videos over the next couple months just to get in depth, because we didn't even talk about any resources like that he's done demos on outside of the Discord, or just different things like that. So we went in depth into like the secret sauce channel and that kind of thing. So we'll do that at a later date. But definitely, feel free to go back through here, slow it down, just put together set up your basic Discord, get your plugins in to help you out with those things, and just kind of go through these things at your own leisure and learn how to use this stuff, because the value is absolutely immense. So once again, Nate, thank you so much for coming on and letting us all know how to do and how to use these tools and how to properly read them and read the analytics. So I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
So guys, we've already went about an hour and 10 minutes here, a little bit over, but I mean, that's how much information and value we had packed into here. And Nate did a very good job of really compacting it. So we'll close up today. I hope you guys got some value from this. I know I did personally. This was a really great episode, lots of value. We're going to continue to give you these value packed episodes. If you're watching this and you're not in the Discord, man, if that doesn't convince you to jump in the Discord, I mean, Nate made $1,500 today on just being in the general chat, right? And that wasn't something that he did of his came up with this. That was just a mention and piecing some information from the chat together that everyone was talking about. Hey, this is probably a play, picking these up. Something as simple as that, can make you some money like that. I've jumped out of a 33% trade on Bitcoin today. So this is all just in the last 24 hours. So there's massive amounts of value here, guys. So if you're not in the Discord, the link's down below. Follow us on Twitter for all of our, our sneak peeks on the art drops, on information on the mint date. Get all that stuff together, because you're not going to want to miss, the value that we're bringing and the value that we plan to bring over the next few months. But so we're going to close up today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you guys all next time, and like and subscribe, please. Thank you.